Now we will discuss about menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle is nothing but cyclical changes which occur in the endometrium of uterus, what we call menstrual cycle. That means what? Whatever the changes which occurring in the menstrual cycle, those are happening in the endometrium of uterus. That's what menstrual cycle we can also call as endometrial cycle. Right? So, when you are studying about endometrial cycle, if you know the basic anatomical concept of endometrium, you can easily understand the concept of menstrual cycle. That's what I will try to explain you very basic anatomical idea about endometrium of uterus. Right? So, if you take the uterus having body and cervix, on either side there will be opening of fallopian tubes, and this is the cavity of uterus, and here is the cavity of cervix. Cavity of cervix we can also call as cervical canal, and this is the lumen of fallopian tube. Right, and cervix will be opening into vaginal canal or vaginal cavity. Right, this is fundus, this is body, and this is cervix, and on either side there will be opening of fallopian tubes. Right, uterus having three layers from outside to inside. Outer perimetrium, this is perimetrium. Perimetrium is peritoneal covering. Perimetrium is peritoneal covering. Then middle myometrium. Myometrium made up of smooth muscle fibers. So that's what we are calling as myometrium. Middle myometrium, that means from here to here. This part of uterus what we call myometrium. It made up of muscle tissue. Then there will be innermost layer. This innermost layer what we call endometrium. So this is endometrium. Endometrium is nothing but just it's a mucosa of uterus. Very simple. This is mucosa of uterus. Clear? Perimetrium, myometrium, and endometrium. Right? And if you observe blood supply of uterus, uterus is supplied by uterine artery and ovarian artery. Right? Of course, both will anastomose with each other. Branches from these arteries enters into uterus. After entering into uterus, they gives rise to arcuate arteries. What are these arteries? Arcuate arteries. These arcuate arteries gives rise to radiating arteries. What are these arteries? Radiating arteries. So these radiating arteries once enters into endometrium of uterus, they gives rise to two types of arteries. One type of arteries are basal arteries or straight arteries. Basal arteries are straight arteries. And another type of arteries are spiral arteries or coiled arteries. Right? Basal arteries present in the stratum basal of endometrium, but spiral arteries extends throughout the endometrium, right? That I will explain over here. Let me draw the same diagram over here. See here, this is the branches from the uterine arteries. They enters into uterus and gives rise to arcuate arteries. Arcuate arteries gives radiating arteries. These radiating arteries once reaches to the endometrium, they are giving two types of arteries, basal arteries or straight arteries and coiled arteries. What are these? Coiled arteries. Clear? When we are studying about endometrium, we have to take small portion of it and we have to draw data diagram over here for detailed explanation. That's what I am taking small portion of it and I will try to illustrate over here, right? So I am taking small part of myometrium also to avoid confusion. So here myometrium. Myometrium made up of smooth muscle fibers. This is myometrium. Right? Actually I have drawn very thin layer, but myometrium is thickest layer of uterus. I don't have space, that's what I am drawing very thin layer. But just imagine that above also there will be myometrium, right? Then endometrium. Endometrium contains endometrial glands, connective tissue and spiral arteries. Of course, along with that veins also will be present. What is the lining epithelium of uterus? Lining epithelium of uterus is columnar epithelium. But before menarche, what is the lining epithelium of uterus? Before menarche, that means what? Before starting of menstrual cycle. Lining epithelium of uterus is ciliated columnar epithelium. But after menarche, lining epithelium is only columnar epithelium. There is no cilia. Why? After menarche, every month there will be sloping off of endometrium and regeneration of endometrium, right? That's what, there is no time to regenerate the cilia. Because of that, after menarche there is no cilia, only columnar epithelium, right? Then along with these glands you can find connective tissue within it. Very simple. I already told you that endometrium is mucosa of uterus, right? So when it is mucosa of uterus, mucosa contains connective tissue. So same thing will be there. Here also connective tissue. But that connective tissue what we are calling stroma. Connective tissue of uterus what we are calling stroma. Stroma contains stromal cells. Of course, along with stromal cells, all connective tissue cells and whatever the contents which are present in the connective tissue, all those things will be present, right? Then we have to discuss about these blood vessels because they are very important when you are studying about menstrual cycle, right? So what is this artery? Radiating artery. This radiating artery once reaches to the endometrium, it will give two types of arteries. One type of arteries are basal arteries. These are basal arteries and spiral arteries. These are spiral arteries. Spiral arteries are coiled arteries. Clear? Right? Of course, along with these arteries, you can found veins also. Right? But at the secretory phase of menstrual cycle, venous drainage will become very complex. How? There will be arteriovenous anastomosis, and we can found venous blood filled spaces. These venous blood filled spaces what we call lacunae. Right? So this is the blood supply of uterus. So finally we have completed structure of endometrium. Very simple. Endometrium is mucosa of uterus. Endometrium contains endometrial glands. Endometrial glands having three parts. This part of endometrial gland what we call neck of endometrial gland, and this part of endometrial gland what we call body of endometrial gland, and this part of endometrial glands what we call base of endometrial glands. Right? So along with glands there will be connective tissue. That connective tissue what we are calling stroma, and endometrium contains coiled arteries or spiral arteries. Of course, in the basal part there will be basal arteries. Right? Along with that venous drainage also will be present. Clear? So this is about endometrium. Right? For our convenience, we are dividing the endometrium into three parts. Endometrium which is present at the level of necks of endometrial gland. This part of endometrium what we call stratum compactum. Stratum compactum. This part of connective tissue is compact or dense. That's what this layer what we call stratum compactum. Right? And then endometrium which is present at the level of bodies of endometrial glands. This part of endometrium what we call stratum spongiosum. Spongiosum. Why we are calling this as a spongiosum? Because this part of endometrium is spongy like, or it is edematous connective tissue. That's what this part of endometrium what we call stratum spongiosum contains edematous connective tissue or spongy like connective tissue. Right? Then basal part of endometrium or endometrium which is present at the level of bases of endometrial glands. This part of endometrium what we call stratum basale. Stratum basale. Clear? So endometrium which is present at the level of necks of endometrial glands what we call stratum compactum, because it is compact connective tissue or dense connective tissue, and endometrium which is present at the level of bodies of endometrial glands stratum spongiosum, because it is spongy like appearance or it is edematous connective tissue. Then stratum basale. Stratum basale is present at the level of bases of endometrial glands. These two layers stratum spongiosum and stratum compactum unitedly we can call as stratum functionale. Stratum functionale. Why we are calling this as stratum functionale? Because during menstrual cycle every month there will be sloping off of endometrium and regeneration of endometrium, right? That will occur only in the stratum compactum and stratum spongiosum. What I am trying to say is stratum spongiosum and stratum compactum only will slope off every month and again it will regenerate. But stratum basale will not slope off. Stratum basale will be persist permanently. Right? That's what these two layers are undergoing function. Right? Are cyclical changes. That's what these two layers unitedly what we call stratum functionale. Right? So this is basic idea about endometrium. With this basic idea we will try to study about menstrual cycle. Right? Let me remove this. Now we will study about menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle is nothing but cyclical events or cyclical changes which occur in the endometrium of uterus, what we call menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle we can also call it as endometrial cycle. Why? Because cyclical events under the influence of estrogen and progesterone will happen within the endometrium. That's what this cycle what we call endometrial cycle. Right? During this period, that means during menstrual cycle, one side there will be occurring of ovarian cycle also. Right? Last class we have studied ovarian cycle. Development of follicle, ovulation and formation of corpus luteum. Is it? These changes will be happening one side. Under the influence of that ovarian cycle, menstrual cycle will happen. Clear? Usually during the development of follicle, there will be releasing of estrogen by theca interna. Clear? After ovulation, estrogen and progesterone will be produced by the corpus luteum. Clear? Under the influence of estrogen, some changes will happen in the endometrium. Under the influence of estrogen and progesterone, some changes will happen in the endometrium. These changes will be occurring cyclically. Every month it will be occurring in the cyclical manner. That's what this cycle what we call menstrual cycle or endometrial cycle. Right? Okay. Let's see about ovarian cycle in brief, because in relation with ovarian cycle, if you study menstrual cycle, it will be very easy to understand the concept. Right? So this is primary oocyte with eccentrically placed nucleus, and this is surrounded by flattened follicular cells. What is this structure called? Last class itself you have studied. You have to tell me. What is this? Primordial follicle. Right? These flattened follicular cells becomes cuboidal first, then they becomes columnar. Right? So this is the primary oocyte, and these flattened cells are there, no? These flattened cells becomes cuboidal first, then they become columnar. These follicular cells undergoes proliferation and produces many layers of follicular cells. Now this structure what we call primary follicle. If there is formation of many layers, at that time this structure what we call multi-layered primary follicle. Is it? Then next stage of development is primary oocyte and there will be formation of, what is this layer? Amorphous acellular glycoprotein layer, what we call zona pellucida. Surrounding the zona pellucida, these follicular cells will be present. So these follicular cells will be proliferate and forms many layers around the primary oocyte. Clear? Then this structure is surrounded by cellular and glandular layer. This cellular and glandular layer, what we call theca interna. This theca interna will produce estrogen, right? Then theca interna surrounded by connective tissue layer. This connective tissue layer, what we call theca externa, right? Then these follicular cells undergoes further proliferation and produces more number of follicular cells. In this process, there will be formation of fluid filled spaces in between the follicular cells. Those fluid filled spaces will unite in the next step and forms the cavity called antrum folliculi. Antrum folliculi filled with fluid. That fluid, what we call liquor folliculi. Is it? I am going bit faster because last class itself we have studied about ovarian cycle. Right? See here, some fluid filled spaces are formed. Fluid filled spaces are there in between the follicular cells. All these fluid filled spaces will unite and forms big cavity. This cavity, what we call antrum or antrum folliculi, right? This antrum folliculi filled with fluid, that fluid what we call liquor folliculi. Of course, this is surrounded by theca interna and theca externa. This is theca interna and theca interna surrounded by theca externa, right? When you observe antrum in the follicle, at that time we are no more calling as multilayered primary follicle, we are calling as secondary follicle, right? Now this is secondary follicle. Secondary follicle will enlarge and forms the mature follicle or Graafian follicle. So the secondary follicle will be enlarging and forming the Graafian follicle. I am not going to draw Graafian follicle, just imagine this is only Graafian follicle. The secondary follicle has been enlarged and formed Graafian follicle, right? At the 14th day of menstrual cycle, there will be occurring of ovulation. How ovulation will occur, we have studied. Under the influence of luteinizing hormone, there will be increased intrafollicular pressure, detachment of cumulosuporous cells from the granulosa cells, contraction of smooth muscle fibers which are present in the theca externa, and digestion of collagen in the theca externa. After that, increased intrafollicular pressure. Because of that, the secondary oocyte along with cumulosuporous cells with liquor folliculi will be expelled out. That process what we call ovulation, right? That we have discussed already. So At the 14th day of menstrual cycle, the secondary oocyte along with cumulus oophoros cells will comes out. That process is ovulation. So here secondary oocyte, actually up to here, up to secondary follicle we have studied this as a primary follicle, but after ovulation or 3 hours before the ovulation there will be completion of first meiotic division and production of second polar body and secondary oocyte. Is it or not? So now this cell is secondary oocyte. Secondary oocyte. Clear? So secondary oocyte, and secondary oocyte is surrounded by zona pellucida, right? And this is surrounded by cumulus oophoros cells. Actually these cumulus oophoros cells withdraw their microvilli and arrange loosely around the secondary oocyte in radiating manner. Now these cells no more calling as a cumulus oophoros cells, these cells we are calling as corona radiata cells, right? Okay, here nothing is there here because it has been ovulated. Clear? Then fate of this I will tell you in the next step. Let's see the fate of the remaining follicle. This follicle will collapse and undergoes foldings. That means this follicle thrown into folds and forms temporary endocrine structure. This temporary endocrine structure what we call? What is this structure? Corpus luteum. Corpus luteum. Now theca interna cells are converting into theca lutein cells. These are theca lutein cells. And these granulosa cells converting into granulosa lutein cells. Right? This structure contains yellow color pigment. That pigment what we call lutein. That's what this structure is, corpus luteum. This corpus luteum will produce estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen and progesterone. Right? If this secondary oocyte fertilizes with the sperm, resulting zygote undergoes development. It will converts into 2 cell stage, 3 cell stage, 4 cell stage, 8 cell stage, 16 cell stage, morula. Morula converts into blastocyst. Blastocyst will embed into the endometrium of uterus at the 6th day after fertilization or 20th day of 28 days menstrual cycle. After embedding, trophoblast cells, actually blastocyst contains inner cell mass, that is embryoblast, outer cell mass, that what we call trophoblasts. The trophoblast cells differentiate into 2 types of cells, cytotrophoblast and syncytiotropoblast. Syncytiotropoblast will produce one hormone called human chorionic gonadotrophic hormone, HCG, human chorionic gonadotrophic hormone, simply human gonadotrophic hormone. This human gonadotrophic hormone will releases into the blood and reaches to the corpus luteum and gives information about pregnancy. Once it receives that information, corpus luteum will enlarge and it will keep producing the estrogen and progesterone up to 20 weeks of gestation. After 20 weeks of gestation, this corpus luteum will degenerate. After that, who will produce estrogen and progesterone to maintain pregnancy? Estrogen and progesterone is very important for the maintaining of pregnancy. After 20 weeks it is going to degenerate. Who will produce estrogen progesterone after 20 weeks? Placenta will produce estrogen progesterone. Right? If there is pregnancy, this corpus luteum will enlarge and converts into corpus luteum pregnancy or corpus luteum gravidarum. Is it? So, this is the scenario if there is pregnancy or if there is fertilization. Just imagine there is no fertilization over here. That means no sperm reaches here, no fertilization happen, and this secondary oocyte will degenerate from 12 to 24 hours after ovulation. Right? Then if there is no fertilization, no embryo, no development, no blastocyst, no human chorionic gonadotrophic hormone, and no information to the corpus luteum. Right? When it doesn't get any information about pregnancy, this corpus luteum will persist around 12 days from the 14th day of menstrual cycle. Right? Then if there is no information about pregnancy or if there is no human chorionic gonadotrophic hormone, at the time this corpus luteum will start degenerating. Right? Because of degeneration, there will be sudden withdrawal of estrogen progesterone. Clear? So, now if there is no pregnancy, corpus luteum is going to degenerate and converts into white scar tissue. This white scar tissue what we call corpus albicans. Corpus albicans. Clear? So, this is brief idea about ovarian cycle. Right? With this basic concept of ovarian cycle, we will study about menstrual cycle. Actually, endometrium is mirror of ovarian cycle. Why? Ovarian cycle will occur under the influence of estrogen and progesterone only. Is it? Otherwise, simply I can give one statement. Endometrium will respond very consistently to the hormones which are produced by the ovary. That means estrogen and progesterone. Clear? So, that's what we have to study menstrual cycle in relation with ovarian cycle. Right? So, if you take the duration of menstrual cycle on an average 28 days. But this duration will vary from individual to individual. That's why I am giving range 23 days to 35 days. Right? 90% of females will have duration of menstrual cycle in this range. Clear? So, for our convenience, to avoid confusion, I am taking 28 days cycle. Right? So, 28 days cycle, that means from day 1 to day 28. Day 1 to day 28. Clear? Menstrual cycle will be dividing into 3 phases. Phase 1, menstrual phase. Menstrual phase. Second one is proliferative phase. Proliferative phase. 3, secretory phase. Secretory phase. Clear? Of course, at the end of the secretory phase, there will be one more phase. That phase what we call ischemic phase. Clear? Okay. If you take the menstrual phase, it is from day 1 to day 5. That means from here to here. Day 1 to day 5. And if you take the proliferative phase from day 6 to day 14. And if you take the secretory phase from day 15 to day 28, right? So if you take the menstrual phase, it starts the day when bleeding starts. That means when the menstrual flow starts, that day what we call first day of menstrual cycle. So this is first day of menstrual cycle when bleeding starts. That day is first day of menstrual cycle. From that day to day 5, this phase is menstrual phase. What will happen in this period? There will be sloping off of endometrium. That means most of the spongy layer and total compact layer will be sloped off. Clear? Along with bleeding, endometrium becomes small pieces and it passes through the uterine cavity and vaginal cavity to the exterior, right? At that time the endometrium thickness will drastically reduce and it is around 1 mm thickness, 1 mm thickness at the end of the menstrual phase, right? So I am taking endometrium over here and I will take the small part of myometrium also. So here this is, imagine this is the myometrium made up of smooth muscle fibers. Over this I am taking endometrium in menstrual phase. Endometrium in menstrual phase, it is around 1 mm thickness. There will be only basal portion of endometrial glands. These are basal portion of endometrial glands and basal part of connective tissue and basal arteries. We know what are basal arteries. Basal arteries are straight arteries. Clear? So this is the endometrium in the menstrual phase. There will be basal portions of endometrial glands, basal part of connective tissue and basal arteries are present. I told you that along with menstrual cycle there will be ovarian cycle is running, right? So once the corpus luteum has been degenerated, then next cycle will start. When the next cycle starts, 5 to 12 follicles will start developing. So from those follicles there will be releasing of estrogen. From the 5th day, under the influence of estrogen, there will be growth of endometrium or proliferation of endometrium, repair of endometrium, regeneration of endometrium. At the initial stage of regeneration or initial stage of proliferation, first there will be formation of lining epithelium. Formation of lining epithelium first. Then there will be growth of endometrial glands, growth of connective tissue, growth of blood vessels. Is it? First lining epithelium will form over this endometrium. Then there will be growth of endometrial glands, connective tissue and blood vessels. So here endometrium will grow like this. So endometrial glands will be developing. In this phase, number and size of the endometrial glands will be increased. Number of glands will be increased and size of the glands also will increase. Right? And increasing the amount of connective tissue also. Right? And within the connective tissue there will be accumulation of some fluid. Because of all these things, thickness of endometrium will increase 2 to 3 folds. That means in the menstrual phase, thickness of endometrium is around 1 mm. In the proliferative phase, thickness of endometrium is around 2 to 3 mm. Right? Then along with growth of endometrial glands, there will be growth of blood vessels also. Right? Elongation of coiled arteries or regeneration of coiled arteries or spiral arteries. Right? Actually, menstrual cycle duration will be depending on proliferative phase, because if duration of proliferative phase increases, duration of menstrual cycle also will increase. If the duration of proliferative phase decreases, menstrual cycle duration also will decrease. That means there is no change in the duration of menstrual phase and there is no change in the duration of secretory phase. All fluctuations in the duration of menstrual cycle is depending on proliferative phase. Right? So these are the changes has been occur in the proliferative phase. Any difficulty up to here? Right. We will go to secretory phase. In secretory phase means what? 14th day ovulation happened. This follicle became corpus luteum. Corpus luteum is producing estrogen and progesterone. Right? Now under the influence of these hormones, secretory phase will be occurring. Is it or not? So what is happening here? These hormones, estrogen and progesterone, will stimulate the glandular epithelium of endometrial glands. Glandular epithelium is there, no? This glandular epithelium of endometrial glands, stimulated by estrogen and progesterone to secrete. That means these endometrial glands started secreting under the influence of estrogen and progesterone. Is it? So when they started secreting, these endometrial glands become wider, coiled or tortuous and saccular. These endometrial glands are wider, tortuous and saccular because they are secreting now. What they will secrete? They secrete glycogen rich material. Right? Because of that, thickness of endometrium will increases furthermore. In the secretory phase, thickness of endometrium is around 5 mm. Right? Along with these secretions, there will be increased fluid within the connective tissue. That means endometrium becomes more edematous. Is it? And stromal cells are present, no? Stromal cells are present within the connective tissue. These stromal cells also filled with glycogen rich material. Is it? Then what are the other changes will occur in the secretory phase? We will see. Here these coiled arteries are there, no? These coiled arteries, when they reaches to the stratum compactum, these spiral arteries will increasingly spiral. The spiral arteries are increasingly spiral. So coiled arteries are increasingly spiral. Right? And venous network becomes complex. How? There will be arteriovenous anastomosis and formation of lacunae. Lacunae means what? Venous blood filled spaces. Venous blood filled spaces. Is it? So these are the changes which occur in the secretory phase. Because of all these changes, endometrium becomes firm bed for upcoming zygote. That means every month endometrium will expect zygote. Right? If it comes, endometrium will receive the zygote by implantation. Right? If not, this endometrium will be sloped off. Clear? So, if there is zygote will be entering into the endometrium and it will develop. That process what we call embedding or implantation. That will happen at the 6th day after fertilization or 20th day of 28 days menstrual cycle. Is it? So, this is about secretory phase. Actually, duration of proliferative phase is around 9 days. Duration of secretory phase around 13 days. If there is pregnancy, this endometrium will not slope off. Endometrium will be persist up to the termination of pregnancy. At the termination of pregnancy, along with placenta and fetus, this endometrium will also comes out. During the pregnancy, there is no menstrual cycle. That means menstrual cycle will arrest temporarily up to the termination of pregnancy, or menstrual cycle will ceases up to the termination of pregnancy. Right? After termination of pregnancy, immediately menstrual cycle will not start. There will be gap between the termination of pregnancy and starting of next menstrual cycle. That gap may be around 6 to 10 weeks. If mother is not giving breastfeed, if mother giving breastfeed at the time, that duration may extend furthermore. Is it? So that is about secretory phase, and that is about if there is pregnancy. Now we have to see scenario if there is no pregnancy. Imagine this secondary oocyte has been not fertilized and it has been degenerated after 24 hours of ovulation. Then there is no signals to the corpus luteum, and corpus luteum will wait around 13 days or 12 days. After 12 days, corpus luteum start degenerating and it becomes corpus albicans. At that time, there will be sudden withdrawal of estrogen and progesterone around 27th day of 28 days menstrual cycle. At the 27th day of menstrual cycle, there will be sudden withdrawal of estrogen and progesterone. Because of that, some changes will happen. That changes what we call ischemic changes. Right? So that's what this phase from here to here, that phase what we call ischemic phase. Ischemic phase. Now we will see what will happen in the ischemic phase and what are the effects because of lack of estrogen and progesterone or because of sudden withdrawal of estrogen and progesterone. First, we will see one by one. Because of sudden withdrawal of estrogen and progesterone, there will be constriction of coiled arteries. Right? If there is constriction of coiled arteries, what will happen? Decreased blood supply to the endometrium, which gives pale appearance. Clear? Then, because of sudden withdrawal of estrogen and progesterone, these endometrial glands stops secretion. These endometrial glands will stop secretion, right? Because of stoppage of secretions from the endometrial glands, the thickness of endometrium will be reduced. That means shrinking of endometrium, right? Along with that, decreased fluid within the connective tissue, right? Then what are the other changes will occur? These coiled arteries keep on constricting, which leads to venous stasis and patchy ischemic necrosis at the superficial part of endometrium. Patchy ischemic necrosis will happen at the superficial part of endometrium, right? Then eventually what will happen? Because of ischemia, tissue will undergo necrosis. Is it or not? So when the tissue undergoes necrosis, this connective tissue also undergoes necrosis, this blood vessels also undergoes necrosis. Is it? Now these damaged blood vessels will rupture. Because of ischemia, this tissue has been necrosed, right? Because of necrosis, these blood vessels also will damage. Is it or not? These damaged blood vessels will rupture. So what will happen? Blood will leaks. Blood will leaks or blood will seeps into the surrounding connective tissue. Blood will enters into surrounding connective tissue now. Set. Because of this, within the endometrium we can see some blood filled pools or blood pools. We can observe some blood pools. These blood pools breaks through the surface of the endometrium and enters into uterine cavity. Enters into uterine cavity and pass through the vaginal canal to the exterior, right? Then this necrosed endometrium becomes small pieces. Those pieces also will comes out through the uterine cavity and vaginal cavity. So now the endometrium will become small pieces and it comes out through the uterine cavity and vaginal cavity because of necrosis. Clear? Then this thickness of endometrium is gradually reduces like this. That means now it is sloughing off. Small pieces is going out. So it will be gradually reduces and again starting of menstrual cycle. That means day 1. So now the thickness of endometrium again will reduces to 1 millimeter. So this is again day 1 to day 5. Clear? After day 5 again estrogen will be produced from the developing follicles, again proliferation will occur. After proliferation, secretory phase. After secretory phase, if there is no pregnancy, again menstrual cycle will start. Clear? So this is about menstrual cycle. And you may ask one more question. These damaged blood vessels kept open for 3 to 4 days or up to 5 days. After 5 days, how will they close? There is a mechanism called living ligature of uterus. What is that mechanism? Imagine these are the radiating arteries. These radiating arteries passing through the myometrium. Is it? Imagine this is artery passing through the myometrium. When they are passing through the myometrium, after 5th day or before 5th day also, that means at the end of the menstrual phase, these smooth muscle fibers start contracting. When they start contracting, this blood vessel will pinch off. When it pinched off, blood flow will stops. Right? Up to that means up to termination of menstrual phase, these blood vessels will kept open. Through that, blood will be passing out along with pieces of endometrium. Right? Actually, total blood loss at each cycle is around 20 to 80 ml of blood. Actually, the fluid which is coming during the menstrual phase, that fluid what we call menstrual fluid. Menstrual fluid contains blood, secretions of endometrial glands and pieces of endometrium. This totally what we call menstrual fluid. Actually, whenever we have any injury to the body, bleeding will occur. Within 3 to 5 minutes, clotting will form. Is it or not? But here, bleeding occurring around 3 to 5 days, but no clotting. Menstrual fluid will not clot. Clear? Why? Because there will be some hydrolytic enzymes which are present within the menstrual fluid, which prevents the clotting of blood in the uterus or in the vagina. Clear? So that is about menstrual cycle. Okay, before going to complete this, let's see the menstrual cycle in table format. Can we see? Okay, because it makes easy to understand the concept. Clear? So let me remove this, then I will tell about menstrual cycle in table format. Right. Now we will take table like this. Here, changes. What are the different changes which occur in the different parts of the endometrium? And here, menstrual phase. Menstrual phase. And here, proliferative phase. Proliferative phase. Here, secretory phase. Secretory phase. Here, ischemic phase. Ischemic phase. Clear? So, first if you take here, changes in the endometrial glands. Changes in the endometrial glands. Actually, I am not writing full. I will explain. You try to write it down. Okay. So, what are the different changes which will occur in the menstrual phase? Endometrial glands. Here, in the menstrual phase, endometrial glands will be sloughed off, because the total endometrium will be sloughed off, right? In the menstrual phase, only basal parts of endometrial glands are present. Remaining part of endometrial glands has been removed off, right? Because of sudden withdrawal of estrogen and progesterone, right? Then in proliferative phase, growth of endometrial glands. Growth of endometrial glands. Because of growth, number and size of endometrial glands will increase. Is it? Number of endometrial glands also increase and size of endometrial glands also increases. Right? Then, secretory phase. In secretory phase, there will be secretion of endometrial glands. under the influence of estrogen and progesterone, right? And in the ischemic phase, stoppage of secretion of endometrial glands, right? So that is about endometrial glands. Then connective tissue or stroma. What will happen in case of menstrual phase? Stroma will be sloughed off. Only basal portion of stroma only persist. Is it clear? Then in proliferative phase, growth of stroma contains little amount of fluid. Because of that, thickness will increase. Is it? Here also growth of connective tissue. Then coming to the secretory phase. In the secretory phase, stroma becomes more edematous connective tissue, right? Then in ischemic phase, what will happen? Thickness will reduce. Why? Because of stoppage of secretions, right? So reduced thickness and connective tissue filled with blood pools. How? Because of rupture of damaged blood vessels, blood leaks into the connective tissue. So connective tissue contains blood pools. Of course, that blood pools breaks to the surface of the endometrium and it comes out, right? So that is about stroma. Then blood vessels. Here blood vessels kept open. Why? Because of rupture of blood vessels, these blood vessels will kept open from day 1 to day 3 or day 5. Is it? Up to that, bleeding will occur. Only basal arteries are present. Remaining spiral arteries has been removed off or sloughed off. Clear? Then in proliferative phase, what will happen? There will be regeneration and elongation of spiral arteries. Regeneration and elongation of spiral arteries, right? And here in secretory phase, spiral arteries becomes increasingly spiral. Spiral arteries are increasingly spiral. Right? Then what will happen in the ischemic phase? In the ischemic phase, constriction of blood vessels, mainly constriction of spiral arteries, which leads to ischemia. Ischemia leads to necrosis. Necrosis leads to sloughing off of endometrium. Is it? So here constriction of blood vessels. Right? Then influence. This is under the influence of which hormone? There is sudden withdrawal of estrogen and progesterone. Because of that, this menstrual phase started. Is it? And proliferative phase under the influence of what? It is under the influence of estrogen, right? And secretory phase under the influence of estrogen and progesterone, right? And ischemic phase because of sudden withdrawal of estrogen and progesterone. Sudden withdrawal of estrogen and progesterone. Clear? Because of sudden withdrawal of estrogen and progesterone, all these changes has been happened. right? Then coincide. Here degeneration of corpus luteum. At the time of degeneration of corpus luteum, this menstrual cycle will happen, is it or not? Or at the time of corpus albicans, at the time of formation of corpus albicans, this menstrual phase will happen. And here development of follicles. That's what this phase, what we can call estrogen phase or follicular phase. Clear? So this is coincide the development of follicle and secretory phase. Formation and functioning of corpus luteum. Here degeneration of corpus luteum. Because of that only sudden withdrawal. Because of sudden withdrawal only stoppage of secretions and constriction of blood vessels. Because of constriction of blood vessels, necrosis happen and sloping of endometrium. Is it? So these are the different changes which occur in the endometrium every month. This cycle what we call menstrual cycle or endometrial cycle. Is it any difficulty? If no, we will try to discuss about fertilization.